Of course, Darren apologizes like, baby, I'm so sorry. You know, I got caught up with work and I just could not make it. But don't worry, I'll make it up to you. I'll come and see you. There was another incident where Darren was supposed to see Jabu and he did not show up. So Jabu is like, are you kidding me? Are you taking me for granted here or what? You know, at this point, it is getting to Jabu because she really hates this kind of behavior. She does not like it when you cannot stand by your word. It's her pet peeve. So she calls Darren and says, but what do you take me for? Where are you? In fact, I am coming to see you on Sunday after church. And Darren says, I'll have to confirm. Jabu asked Darren, what are you confirming? Do you have plans? You said you were coming to see me and you did not see me. As the girlfriend she is mad. And reasonably so. She is mad because she does not like this kind of inconsistent behavior. You say one thing and you're doing the other thing. Darren says, but baby, it's like these days you don't want to give me peace. It's like these days you're becoming my headache. And Jabu says, but no, hold it there. You're the one who said you were going to come and see me. So why can you not do what you said? Why can you not just keep to your word? Why is it so hard for you to keep to your word these days? It's not about me not giving you peace. It's about you not keeping to your word. So they end up getting into some kind of argument. And Jabu says, you know what? I'm coming to see you on Sunday after church. You had better make yourself available. On that Sunday, Jabu calls Darren. Where are you? Darren says he's with his friend Kevin. You know, when I'm done from here, I will come and see you. She says, okay, she's waiting. So she drops the call and starts waiting for his arrival. A few hours pass and she does not hear anything from him. So she calls him again and she's like, what is going on? I thought you said you were going to come and see me. Darren then explains to her that, oh baby, I'm so sorry. You know, Kevin was the one who was supposed to drive me to yours. But as it is at the moment, Kevin is drunk. So he can't drive. Jabu says, but Kevin lent you his car before. Why can he not do the same now that you have to come and see me? Remember that Darren's car had gotten into a car accident. So Kevin was in the habit of lending Darren his car. It was nothing new to them. They were friends and he was very comfortable with that. So Jabu asks Darren, why can you not just get into Kevin's car and drive to my place? He is very comfortable with lending you his car. So why is it so hard now that I'm asking you to come and see me, for you to jump into Kevin's car and drive yourself to my place? The situation is really pissing her off, and Darren is like, baby, these days it's like you're beginning to nag a lot. These days it's like you're not giving me peace. And Jabu is just pissed. He says, okay, look, if you want to see me, you drive over here and come and get me from Kevin's place, and then we can go to your house and spend some time together. How does that sound? Jabu thinks about it for a second, and for some reason she has a bad feeling. You know, Jabu does not really like driving at night, especially in places that she's not really familiar with. And for some reason, she thought to herself, what if I get hijacked? Nah, I don't think I want to do this. So she declines. She tells him, I am not going to drive all the way there to come and get you. Since you have decided that instead of keeping to your word and coming to spend time with me, you have gone to spend time with your friend, Kevin, so be it. Okay? I'm not driving there to get you. So be it. You just stay there, do you, and I'm going to go over here and do me. So Jabu drops the call. She's very angry, but she goes to bed regardless. So the next day is a Monday morning. Jabu clocks into work, writes a report, and sends in to her manager. While she's waiting for her manager's feedback, she quickly jumps into her car and drives to Darren's place. When she gets there, she calls Darren. Where are you? Darren says, I'm at home. And Jabu tells him, open the gate for me, please. Darren says, oh, I can't see you. She says, I'm right in front of your house. I'm in the yard. Open the gate for me. So Darren says, oh, actually, I'm not at home. I thought you were joking. I'm actually on my way to work. Jabu says, oh, you're on your way to work? Scratch that. I will need you to make a U-turn and start driving towards me. Send me your live location so that I know that you're actually driving towards me. Thank you. And Darren does exactly that. When he gets there, he opens the gate and they both get in. Jabu is pissed. She is fuming. She is not in the mood for any pleasantries with Darren. So she tells him, please, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. All I want to do is to go directly to your ancestors. Please, let's go to the prayer room. So Darren rushes, gets the key of the prayer room, opens the prayer room, and they get in. Darren rushes to the musical instrument, shakes, and the ancestors manifest and asks them to pray. Since Jabu is so pissed, she's not in the mood for any prayer nor singing today, so she just stands there and Darren does the prayer alone. After the prayer, the ancestors say, my daughter, I can tell that you're not doing okay. What's wrong? And Jabu just starts pouring out her heart. She's like, this one, he's no longer treating me well. He says things and he does not do them. This is not the person I know. Honestly, I don't like this kind of behavior. I don't know what to do. He does all these things, and when I reprimand him, he says, Mayna, I'm not giving him peace. What kind of behavior is this? I am not used to this. If a man does not treat me right, I have no problem cutting him off and throw him to the curb. I cannot take this anymore. If he's behaving like this when he's not even a millionaire, what will happen when he actually gets all this money they're about to bless us with? I am not going to do this anymore. This. She keeps going on and on. You know what? I am actually here to get back the money I got from the loans. Please just give me back my 550,000 so that I can go back, pay my loan, and move on with my life. Because this son of yours behavior is not acceptable to me. So please, can I have my money so that I can move on with my life? I am done with him. While Jabu ranted angrily, the ancestors were quiet and they just let her speak her mind with no interruptions. So after Jabu was done with her angry rants, the ancestor addressed Darren and said, my son, we are so disappointed in you. Is this how we taught you how to treat a woman? You brought this woman because you said she's the woman of your dreams. And we told you that we should never ever hear that this woman is crying because of you. And look at it now. Don't you love her anymore? If you don't love her anymore, tell us right now and let's know that you don't love her anymore and you don't want to do this with her anymore. Darren says, no, Papa, I love her. Then Jabu says, then why are you treating me like this? Jabu interrupts him and says, why are you then treating me like this? If you claim that you love me, why are you doing this? Darren tries to apologize. He's looking at the floor sheepishly. He's trying to apologize. The ancestors reprimand him. They say, this is not what we expect from you. You're supposed to care for this woman. Anything, you're supposed to be making her happy. We told you, we warned you that a tear should never ever roll down this woman's face because of you. This is not okay. In fact, you must come back at night time to get your punishments. We are not going to tolerate this kind of behavior from you because this is not what we have taught you. This is totally unacceptable. You can't do this to her. Jabu was angry when she got here, but my oh my, she relieved that at least there's somebody to reprimand this man of hers. She's so impressed with the way the ancestor is reprimanding Darren. The more the ancestor reprimands Darren, the more she feels her anger going down. But she still wants her money back. She does not want to deal with this anymore. She feels that if this money is going to come with this kind of behavior, she had much rather not have it, even if it's 14 million. She had much rather stayed without the 14 million and have her peaceful relationship without any problems. So she tells the ancestor that she still wants her money back. So the ancestor explains to Jabu that the mixing process is going to be done in the next 16 days, after which she can come and collect the money. There's no problem at all. At this point, it had been over 2 months since the mixing process started. Remember, the ancestor said this mixing process is going to take between 2 to 3 months. The ancestor now addresses Darren. He says, my son, you mentioned you were going to Polokwane for work, and before the ancestor could finish, Jabu interrupted him and said, you're going to Polokwane for work? How come I don't know about this? And the ancestor says, my son, you know you have to communicate. How can you be with a woman and you cannot communicate with her? The key to every successful relationship is communication. You must learn how to communicate. What kind of behavior is this? You must do better. You're going to Polokwane for work for up to 1 week and your woman does not know about it. What kind of behavior is this? You must stop this. As I told you, in the evening, you are coming here to get your punishment. You must try and do better. This is not what we've taught you. This is not acceptable behavior. So Jabu stands there and just listens to the ancestor reprimanding him. She's thinking to herself, at least this one is better. I don't need to say much. Before I can say Jack, the ancestor is reprimanding him already on my behalf. That's good. Lucky me. So after the ancestor is done reprimanding Darren, they get out of the prayer room. It's very tense. Jabu is not even smiling. Her body language is just blocking Darren out. She's not in the mood for any pleasantries whatsoever. As she's leaving the house, Darren is trying to talk to her and calm her down. He's trying to apologize to her because of me. I'm so sorry, please. I promise to do better. I don't want you to cry because of me, this and this and this. He keeps going on and trying to apologize. And Jabu is not having it. Jabu is a kind-hearted person. So obviously, the apology is getting to her, but she's still not happy. She cannot believe that this man who she thought was a man of character and integrity is behaving like this. The more he talks, the more he apologizes, the calmer she becomes. So he explains to her that he's going to Polokwane for work. He'll be leaving on Thursday to come back the next Thursday. Mind you, this is Monday. So he tells her that, baby, you know, these days we've been fighting a lot. When I come back from Polokwane, I would like us to spend a week together. Maybe go somewhere, just two of us, spend some quality time together so that we can just be happy, you know. We can just enjoy each other's company and be happy the way we have always been. This melts Jabu's heart, and Jabu says, well, okay, I guess I will see you when you come back. You know what they say, a clean space equals a clear mind. Are you in Middlesbrough, England looking for top-tier cleaning services? Whether you're at home, in the office, running a big industrial site or educational institution, MAG&K cleaning services have got you covered. They do it all, from residential and commercial cleaning to post-construction cleanups. Need your carpets, upholstery, or windows cleaned? Don't worry, they've got you. And the best part is, they use eco-friendly solutions to keep your space clean and green. So if you're ready to take the hassle out of cleaning, give MAG&K Cleaning Services a call. And when you contact them, let them know that we over here at True Tales and Thoughts sent you so that you can benefit from our promo code, which is TTT20. TTT20 to get 20% off your first service. Thank you so much, MAG&K Cleaning Services, for sponsoring this video and supporting our channel. Remember, life's too short to spend it cleaning. Call the pros at MAG&K and let them handle it. Trust me, they are really good at what they do. Okay. So as Jabu is about to leave, she notices that his fridge is gone. So she asks Darren, what happened to your fridge? Where is it? He says the fridge died because of load shedding, so he had to send it to the repairers. She doesn't think much of it. Remember, she has to rush back to work, so she hops into her car and drives back home. After that meeting, Darren goes back to default setting. He changes and becomes that consistent and loving man that Jabu met almost 3 months ago. In only 16 days time from now, they were going to get their money, go on to buy their house, start their businesses, and just live life together in abundance. Thursday finally comes and Darren leaves for Limpopo. When he arrives Polokwane, he calls Jabu to let her know that he arrived safely and is settling in just fine. The next day, which is Friday, unfortunately, Jabu wakes up late. So she ends up having to rush to take her kids to school. But as usual, she received her good morning message. So she quickly grabbed her phone, replied the message, and got back to school runs. She drives her kids to school. Then when she comes back to clock into work, she quickly checks her phone to make sure she replied Darren, because she was not sure if she had replied him or not. And she sees that she had replied him. So she goes to work. She starts working as usual. But she realizes that Darren has not called her, and now it's noon. That's quite strange, because normally Darren would have called her at least once by this time of the day. But here she is at midday, having heard nothing at all from Darren. So she takes a break from work, grabs her phone and tries to call Darren. His number went straight to voicemail. She went to try to call him on WhatsApp, but she realized that his display picture on WhatsApp was gone. She started wondering to herself if he had an accident, or if someone had stolen his phone, or if something had happened to him. Was he safe? And you know, now she does not even have anybody she can call to ask if they've heard from Darren. You remember that Darren had refused to give her his friend Kevin's number. Now Jabu does not know what to do. She keeps trying to calling and calling, but it keeps going to voice notes. Jabu starts thinking for a second. She's like, okay, what is going on? Maybe I should drive to his house. No, I can't drive to his house. He's obviously not in town. What do I do? So Jabu finally thinks to herself, well, maybe I'm being paranoid. It could very well be that he's held up with work and he just cannot talk right now. He's probably going to get back to me as soon as he can. So she goes on with her day. Today is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Jabu has still heard nothing at all from Darren. On Sunday after church, Jabu thinks to herself, should I just drive to his house? Maybe he's back in town. Maybe things didn't really work out in Limpopo. He had an accident, then he lost his phone, and now he had to come back into town and he cannot reach me because he has no phone. So maybe I should drive to his place to see if he's around. Maybe he's back in town for some reason. Jabu her thoughts are all over the place. She's very worried for him. She thinks that something has happened to Darren and he just cannot reach out to her. So on that Sunday, it occurred to her that she should drive to Darren's place after church. Mind you, she was with her kids. She ended up dissuading herself. She thought it would just be better for her to exercise some more patience. Additionally, Darren's gate needs to be opened with a remote. Given that Darren is in Limpopo, even if she goes to his house, she will obviously not be able to get in. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she had still heard nothing from Darren. Thursday, Jabu could not take it anymore. Early in the morning, after dropping her kids off at school, Jabu drove to Brakpan. That drive to Brakpan that day was the longest drive of her life. She kept thinking to herself, did something happen to him? Was he in an accident? Should I search if there was any accident in Limpopo? Was he involved in an accident? What happened? Her thoughts are all over the place. She is so worried for Darren. She is so worried. Her heart is pounding. She's scared. She's thinking that what if this guy is dead? What if he got robbed? What if he got hijacked? What if he got kidnapped? What happened? She keeps going. She's so anxious. She can hear her own heartbeat. Oh my God, it was such a long and exhausting drive. Finally, Jabu gets to Darren's house. She parks her car and walks out towards the house. She tries to peek into the house to see if there's anyone at home. She's not able to because, Jabu is not very tall. She even tries to jump, but the fence is too high. So she stands there for a while. Then she remembered that on the day that she was coming to Darren's house, she had made a wrong turn. And on that wrong turn, there was a spot where she could get a good view of Darren's house. So she quickly jumped back into her car and drove to that place. When she got to that spot, she tried again. She tried to look, she tried to jump to see if she can get a glimpse of what is going on in that house. And she succeeds this time around. And you know what was there? Absolutely nothing. The house was vacant. All the curtains, the furniture, everything gone. She looked to another angle and she saw that they had put to let. Mind you, Darren was supposed to have bought this house cash with his money from the sales of his cows in South Sudan. All hope left her. All this while she had been thinking that something had happened to Darren. That's why he could not get to her. He was in an accident. She didn't really think that it was going to be this. But for the first time in a long time since she's known Darren, the realization hit Jabu. And all hope was gone. Jabu finally realized what had been going on all this while. Darren was not here for love. He had scammed her of a lot of money. Once this realization hit Jabu, she spoke aloud to herself and said, damn, I've been scammed. Jabu did not shed a tear. She just jumped back into her car and started driving home. When she got home, she got a call from her daughter's school telling her that her daughter had had a panic attack, that she needs to come and get her because she's not doing okay. So Jabu called up her niece, told her briefly what happened with Darren and asked her to come and join her so that they go to fetch her daughter from school, and while they're on the way, she's going to explain the details of what exactly happened. So her niece comes and they drive to her daughter's school to get her. So after they get Jabu's daughter, she just decides to wait for her son to close instead of going home and coming back again. So she brought both of her kids home and she went on as normal. Surprisingly, Jabu was not shedding a tear. She was just functioning almost on autopilot. Her kids were there, she was catering to the kids, going about her day normally. But there was one thing, her kids, especially her daughter, had noticed that there was something not right with her mom. But Jabu went on doing her things normally as though nothing had happened. But behind all this, Jabu was thinking of how to exit life because of what Darren had done to her. When she goes to bed at night, she starts bawling. She bawls her eyes out. She feels so defeated. She feels so stupid. She asks herself how she could believe this. You know, Jabu is the kind of person that believes, I have no business lending a man money. And she believes that men are supposed to be financially responsible for themselves. If Darren had come to Jabu and said, oh baby, I have this business idea, can you give me 200,000 rand to start my business? She would have cut Darren off immediately. Jabu believes that as a woman, when you are dating a man, you should be talking about love, not about money. Men are supposed to go out there and hustle. Women are not responsible for aiding men financially. Jabu is not the kind of woman that will give money to a man on a regular day. She will not do that. She believes that the only male a woman should be spending money on is her child, her male child, her son, not a full-grown man who you're supposed to be in a relationship with. Those are the principles that Jabu lives by. Can you imagine? So she's asking herself, how on earth could I be stupid enough to let this guy take this much money from me? Now I'm in debt. I am 500,000 rand in debt. I want to live life. I want to escape. I don't want to deal with this. She felt so embarrassed. She felt so used because Darren is somebody that she sat down with to make future plans together. This guy planned with her how they're going to blend their families, how they're going to live together happily ever after. Jabu is so embarrassed. How does she explain this to anybody? How does she explain that she could be so stupid to fall for this kind of thing? This is Friday morning. It's very early in the morning and Jabu has still not slept. She's just sitting alone with her thoughts, feeling miserable. She thinks to herself, well, I'll have to tell someone at some point. So she goes on to WhatsApp and posts a status which read, my soul is broken. So she goes through WhatsApp and sees that her mother is online and has posted some prayers on her status. She immediately calls her mom and cries over the phone and just tells her everything that happened, and also expressed to her that she does not want to live anymore, that she's been having all these thoughts about taking her own life. Her mom, upon hearing this, was devastated and she didn't know what to do. So all she could do in the moment was just to start praying for her. She just went on praying for Jabu as Jabu sobbed over the phone. Jabu's ex-boyfriend also saw the status that she had put on her WhatsApp. So he told her that he was going to come and check on her later in the day. Remember, the fact that Jabu has been scammed does not mean that she stops being a mom. She still has her responsibilities. So Jabu, having not slept even a wink throughout the night, drags herself out of bed and goes on to prepare her kids for school. They get into the car and she drives them to school. On her way back, she starts having weird ideas. She thinks to herself, what if I drive my car into another car? What if I wait for a truck and just drive my car into the truck so that I just exit life? What about I drive my car off of a cliff? Okay, maybe I can just drive into a wall. Jabu starts having life exiting thoughts, but she doesn't act on them. She drives back home. When she gets home, she clocks into work. She gets in contact with her manager and her manager asks her how she's doing. Jabu just tells her she's not doing well, and immediately the manager calls. She explains to the manager that the person she was dating scammed her out of a lot of money and she's not okay. So the manager says, okay, if you need to take a day off, if you feel like you can't work today, that's totally fine. Just take the day off, do what you have to do, and you can come back when you feel a bit better. Jabu tries to work, but she realizes that she just cannot concentrate. So she decides to take the day off. Since Jabu took a day off, she decided to go to the police station to open a case against Darren. Mind you, at this point, all hope is gone. Jabu knows clearly that she's been scammed and she does not have any other explanation. She does not have any other excuse for Darren's behavior. She's no longer thinking, oh, maybe he got into an accident, or maybe he's going to call me. Her heart is void of all hope. So she goes to the police station and wants to open a case. On getting to the police station, Jabu saw that there were so many people around the police officer that she was supposed to be talking to. And she was scared that if she talks in front of this many people, she might just break down and be a mess, and that would be so embarrassing. So she walked up to the police officer and asked him if they could talk in private. And he said, yeah, sure, we can talk in private. But please, you just have to sit over there, wait, and when I'm done with these people, I'm going to take you to a place where we can talk in private. Is that okay? Jabu says yes, and he ushers her. She sits down and waits for her turn. When the police officer was done, as he promised, he came towards Jabu and asked her, Sisi, what's your story? She started narrating the story to the police guy. He was so empathetic. He really sympathized with her. He was like, oh my God, is this possible? He himself was shocked because he had never heard of that kind of thing before. But he was very kind, nice and empathetic. He listened to her, asked her questions. He really showed interest in her story. He tried to record as many details as possible in an effort to help her resolve this issue. And this police guy was very patient because Jabu ended up spending over 4 hours just explaining the story to him. So the police officer explained to her that there's a very high probability that they'll have to send this case over to the police in Brakpan. But whatever the case may be, they're going to open a case that she should expect to receive an SMS once the case is open. So it was on that note that Jabu left the police station and went back home. Once her kids were done from school, she went on to pick them up. And when they came home, she broke the news to her kids because remember, Jabu has a very transparent relationship with her kids. The same way that she came and told them that they might be having a new daddy, she felt the responsibility to break the news to them that Darren was nothing but a scammer, and the only reason he was with her was because he wanted to scam her out of money, and he has scammed her out of a lot of money. Her kids obviously were very sad, especially her daughter. You know, they were very hopeful that this relationship between Darren and their mom was going to work out and they would be a big happy family, but it was very sad for them to now hear that this is who he was. Mind you, these kids had met and interacted with Darren. He treated them well. They created fun memories with him. So it was really sad for them to realize that he was nothing but a scammer. This was past midnight on Saturday morning. The whole night, Jabu had not been able to sleep, making this the second day that she's not having any sleep whatsoever. Jabu's son has a compulsory activity at school. Basically, parents come and walk 10 laps with their kids. Mind you, at this point, Jabu has not had a wink of sleep. But remember, she's still a mom. The fact that she's been scammed does not mean she'll stop being a mom. Jabu still gathers herself and goes for this walk at her son's school. So her son is doing the walk with his friends. They're having fun, they're laughing. You know, kids will always be kids. So he goes there, he's laughing with his friends, doing his thing. And Jabu is over here walking as well with her daughter. They're holding hands. Jabu cannot help it. As she's walking with her daughter, she just feels hot tears streaming down her cheeks, and her daughter can see her mom just breaking down as she squeezes her hand in an effort to comfort her because she can clearly see that her mom is in pain. After the walk, Jabu sits down for a second and tears are just streaming down her cheeks. She tries to hold her tears, but she just cannot. It's just not humanly possible for her to hold back these tears. They just keep pouring. Jabu thinks that it's a good idea for her to go to the hospital because she's not been able to sleep. So she wants to go there to see if the doctors can prescribe some sleeping pills so that at least she can get some hours of sleep in, because all these days she's not been sleeping at all. So she goes ahead to drop the kids at home, and then her ex calls her up to tell her that he's going to be coming to check on her. Her ex then comes over and takes her to the hospital. She gets there and the doctor starts asking her questions. How are you? How can I help you? And Jabu realizes that she cannot really answer that question. So she just tells the doctor, well, I am not okay, but I don't exactly know how you can help me. I've just not been sleeping these days, and maybe you can give me some pills or something to help me sleep. And the doctor says, oh, why are you not sleeping and all that? So Jabu briefly explains the situation to him, and he asks her, are you having thoughts of exiting life? And Jabu says, yeah. So he says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make some calls to get you a psychiatrist. So Jabu says, okay, no problem. This doctor starts making calls upon calls. He gets a place, he writes a letter, puts it in an envelope and seals it, and tells Jabu, go to this hospital and present the letter to them without opening it prior to getting to the hospital. Just take the envelope, go to this hospital and present this letter to them. And she tells her ex the hospital that she's going to. He's wondering why they will send her to the hospital. But Jabu said, well, he just gave me a letter and asked me to present it to the receptionist at this hospital. So I guess I'm just going to do that. So they drive to the hospital. When she gets there, she tells the receptionist that she's here to consult, and she hands the letter over to her. And the receptionist looks at her and says, Sissy, we don't consult here. You're actually at a psychiatric ward. You're going to be admitted. We don't do any consultation here. So that's when Jabu realizes that the doctor was actually looking for a psychiatric ward for her to get admitted because she had thoughts of exiting life. So Jabu quickly makes arrangements for her brother and her niece to cater for the kids while she's going to be in the psychiatric ward. Her niece couldn't drive, so her brother was in charge of doing the school runs, and her niece took care of and stayed with the kids. Jabu was admitted for 3 good weeks in this psychiatric ward. It was obviously better for Jabu to be admitted at the hospital because there they had many activities, they would organize classes, different things to distract you. But that didn't change the fact that at nights, when Jabu sat alone with her thoughts, she would beat herself up. She would just remember the fact that now she's in debt. She has 500,000 rand to repay when she leaves this place, and there's no coming out of it. That's the problem she has to face now, all because of this Darren of a guy. She also thought of the fact that, look at her. She never thought that in her lifetime she would spend even a day in a psychiatric ward, but all because of a man. Here she is, seated in a psychiatric ward. How did this happen to her? So there was a day when Jabu was looking through her phone to find some pictures of Darren for the police case, and she quickly realized that she didn't have any pictures of Darren on her phone. All the pictures she had of him were gone. She remembers that there were a couple of times that Darren had access to her phone. On her birthday, the 30th of March, he was taking pictures and videos of her. Oh my God. It hits her. On that day, Darren could have deleted all his pictures on her phone. She just did not realize. She thinks to herself, this scammer's plan. He was busy planning and scheming all this time, and here I was thinking he was in love with me. Fortunately for her, when the going was good, she had sent Darren's pictures to her friends. Remember the WhatsApp groups? She had sent them to her friends, telling them, oh, this is the guy I'm dating. I met this fantastic guy. He's so good to me. All those pictures she had sent to her friends, that is what she now was able to use for her case. Had it been that she had not sent those pictures to her friends, she wouldn't have had any picture of Darren. 3 weeks pass, and Jabu finally gets out of the psychiatric ward. The case at this point has been transferred to Brakpan. So she goes to the police station with her brother to see the investigator in charge of her case, who happens to be a woman. When she gets there, the investigator asks her to recount the story. Mind you, at this point, Jabu has just gotten out of psych ward. This situation is still very fresh It's not even been up to a month since this incident with Darren happened. So it's still very emotional for Jabu to talk about this thing. This investigator had the documents that was sent to her from the other police officer. And if she had gone through Jabu's documents, she would know the entire story. However, this investigator asked Jabu to recount the story. Jabu complies and starts recounting the story to the best of her ability. Even that is still very emotional for her. She's a bit upset. She's not very coherent. She's really trying to gather her thoughts and recount the story to the best of her ability. And at some point, the investigator says, no, it's fine, it's okay. I have your docket right in front of me. I know what happened. You can just stop talking now. It's fine. This investigator goes ahead to tell Jabu, firstly, I was working on a case recently, and the way that this woman met her own scammer was in the mall. Yours is complicated because you met your own scammer online. So that makes it very complicated. Jabu is sitting there and internally rolling her eyes and saying to herself, what is the difference between meeting a scammer at the mall and meeting a scammer online? Why does that matter? So the investigator goes ahead to say, secondly, the police only arrest people whose whereabouts they know. And Jabu thinks to herself, what is the job of an investigator then? When you have a criminal, don't you get investigators to find out the whereabouts of this criminal and fish them out? Is that not the job of an investigator? But she keeps quiet. Then she adds, and the third thing I'm going to tell you is that the probability of him getting arrested or charged for any crime is close to zero, because there's no way for us to prove that you didn't give him your money voluntarily, you know. Jabu says to herself, okay, I'm just going to hold myself just because I respect this woman's job. I'm not going to say anything. But Jabu goes on to ask her just one question. So are you saying that there's nothing we can do in this situation? This investigator goes on to answer Jabu arrogantly so and says, no, I'm not saying that. One night when Jabu went to Darren's house, they needed to buy electricity. It was too late at night for them to drive to the gas station. So Jabu offered to do it online based on the agreement that he was going to refund her the money the next day. In an effort to ease the investigator's work, Jabu offered up this information. She said, I remember there was a day I bought electricity in his house, so I have a meter number. We can use this meter number to obtain the true identity of the individual that rented this house. So the investigator reluctantly took down the meter number on a small paper which was separate from Jabu's documents. And while all this was going on, another police officer came into that room where Jabu was with her investigator, and she asked the investigator, oh, how much did this one lose? The investigator answered her saying, oh, she lost 500,000. Then the colleague looked at Jabu and said, 500,000, Sisi, you should have given me that money. Jabu was so hurt. She turned around and asked that officer, why are you so insensitive? How can you be so insensitive? I just came out of the psych ward because of this problem and you're talking to me like that. I should have given you 500,000. I don't have 500,000 laying around. I was manipulated into giving this money away. Jabu got so angry at this police officer for saying that. Having noticed that Jabu was getting riled up, the police officer just quickly said, okay, bye, without any apology, and left the office. Jabu let that slide and she faced the investigator to give her some more information. So she added that around Darren's house there in Brackpan, there's a truck company, and that truck company has cameras. So she suggested to the investigator that they can get camera footage from that truck company so that they could get Darren's plate number. So the investigator agreed and said she was going to get back to Jabu. Days passed as Jabu waited for the call from her investigator, but got none. So she decided to reach out to her. She asked her if she had gotten the footage and when they are going to sit down together to review the footage so that they can fish out Darren's car and get his plate number. And the investigator said, yeah, I looked at the footage and the footage was very blurry. We could not see the plate number on the car. The police officer doesn't know what Darren's car looks like. She had not described the car to the investigator. What was supposed to happen was that Jabu had given the investigator a time slot, get footage from this time to this time. And then the investigator was supposed to call Jabu so that they sit down together and have Jabu point out Darren's car so that they take down the number plates. But this never happened. This meeting never happened. So Jabu is wondering to herself, what was she looking out for? She does not know Darren's car. She does not even know the color. She does not know what it looks like. She has no idea. So what was she looking out for? This is when it dawned on Jabu that this private investigator was lying. She had never gotten any footage whatsoever. Unfortunately, Jabu's case was eventually closed, even though she went on to reopen it down the road. Since Jabu realized that the police was not trying to help her, she decided to go in and start doing her own investigation, and she was able to uncover a number of things. First of all, Jabu went back to the house in Bragban and went straight for that prayer room. And that's where she uncovered that it was all a scheme. She realized that the reason why the walls in the room looked so different was because behind those walls was a hole. I'm going to put an example of what the room looks like right here. If you're just listening, look at your screen. It was already obvious at this time that Darren had not bought this house. He was most likely renting. And there were no 200 cows in South Sudan. Remember how Darren told her that he had bought this house with the money he got from the sales of his cows back in South Sudan? That was all a lie. He had never bought this house, and there were no 200 cows in South Sudan because Darren is not even South Sudanese. He is Ugandan. All this while, Jabu had been hearing Darren and his friend Kevin talking over the phone, thinking they were speaking in one South Sudanese language. It was in fact Uganda that they were speaking, but she just had no idea because it was a foreign language to her. Another thing that she uncovered about Darren is that his name is not even Darren Mundari. So nothing she knew about this guy was true. And that name, Darren Mundari, is not the only alias he has had in the past years. He's gone by so many other names, meaning that she's not the only person that this guy has scammed. Guys, if you want to see the picture of this Darren, go to Jabu's TikTok. Go there. She has posted his picture. She's not afraid. She has posted his picture for everybody to see. So click the link in the description box to Jabu's TikTok and go and see the picture of Darren there. This guy had so many names. He lied about everything. And Jabu, by her own investigations, uncovered all these things. When Jabu was asked on an interview how she was able to survive this, given her state of mind when this tragedy happened to her, and also given the behavior of the police, Jabu said it all boils down to her family. She said that her family was very supportive. Jabu admits that even though it was wrong for her to stray from her Christian beliefs and dabble into all this ancestral abracadabra that this guy introduced her to, her family was still very supportive of her. They never judged her for 1 second. They prayed for her and they really tried to make sure that she was good. And the good thing that she did also on her part was to actually tell them, to talk to them openly about how she feels, what she's going through, and most importantly, her feelings of exiting life. This open communication with her family really helped her deal with it because she didn't keep it as a secret. She spoke about it openly to her family and she was very transparent about it. So it also allowed her family to be able to help her. Apart from her family members, Jabu mentions the receptionist at the psychiatric ward, the one who first received her when she went there, and the police officer who first received her when she stepped foot in the police office for the first time to file a case against Darren. She said those two were very empathetic. They really sympathized with her and they treated her with a lot of love and respect. Jabu, given the kind-hearted person that she is, went on to join an association of women who have been scammed. This group was created by a woman popularly known as Queen Bee. I'm going to put her name here, and we're going to cover her story on the channel. Their mission is to offer support to women who have been scammed. If you've been scammed and you want to join the group, all you need to do is to get to Jabu on TikTok, send her the picture of your scammer and your case number, and then she can put in the WhatsApp group. Obviously, this situation has had a very big impact on Jabu's life. It's 500,000 rand we're talking about here. That's a lot of money. So this scam landed Jabu in debt review, and before she met Darren, she was planning to buy a car for herself, which she can obviously not do anymore because she has debts to pay. Jabu was asked on King David's podcast to give advice to people to keep them from getting scammed, and this is what she had to say.
I'll say if it looks too good to be true, it's too good to be true. So if a man talks about money, whether it's for his ancestors, it's for his car that is broken, run for your life. You don't talk about money, you talk about love. People should be careful. There are some red flags that you can highlight. Someone who will meet you within 2 weeks. He's madly in love with you. They like love bombing.
What is that?
Love bombing is when someone gives you so much love within a short space of time. Like, I know women will enjoy that attention, but it doesn't come from the good place. If someone is doing that, he's investing something that he wants to reap sooner.
As I already mentioned, I'm going to link all my references in the description box below. I just quickly want to talk about what you're going to find there. I'm going to leave Jabu's contact information, Owami Entertainment's interview with Jabu, and an article on the South African newspaper IOL on this entire case with Darren and Jabu. The interviews are very interesting because Jabu is such a sweetheart. I feel like the name Jabu really does her justice. And the interviewers, Owami and King David, chef's kiss, they did a great job giving Jabu the platform to express herself and tell her story. So you guys, make sure you go and check them out. Talking about this just gave me an idea, right? If you guys would be interested, one of these days we can sit down and dissect this scam. I can throw myself down a rabbit hole, do some research, and educate you guys on how this scam actually works, how they orchestrate everything, you know, the signs to look out for, the red flags, and how the brain of these scammers work. We can actually do that. I can do some research and make a video on that so that we all understand how these people work and stop them, sabotage their work so they're not able to scam anybody in the future using this particular tactic. Let's bring them down, because it is knowledge. When you have knowledge, you'll be able to say, I see these signs, I am not going into this. This is a scam. But without the knowledge, when you're not armed with knowledge, this is one person. Jabu was just one woman working against a syndicate of men. Mind you, these guys work in big groups. They advise each other on how to scam people better. The victims are like projects, and they talk about it to each other. Oh, how can we do this? Oh, she's acting difficult. How can I make her send me this money? This and this and this. They really talk about you. They laugh about you, and they talk about you with their friends. These people don't care. They don't care. So I think that would be a great idea for us to sit down and really talk about this scam, dissect it, you know, do research and get into it, like really get into the nitty-gritty of how these people plan all these things. If you guys are interested in that kind of video, a deep dive into this ancestral scam and all the scams that are like this, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll be very glad to do the research and present the information to you guys. This finally brings us to the end of the video. I hope that you all enjoyed watching. I hope that you learned at least 1 or 2 things from Jabu's story. All I can tell you now is, when you go out there, keep your eyes open, hold on to knowledge, and don't get scammed. See you in the next video. Bye.